Better to have one bird in your hand than 10 flying where you're just trying to grab them all at the same time. You got to focus on that one thing, build it, and then go from there.
You can't start off with everything. You have to start off little by little and work with what you have. And sometimes you're going to have to work those long hours.
My dad, they came as an immigrant. They did all these struggles. And then for me to like throw it away, it's a fucking disrespect in my eyes to like not try to achieve the full potential.
We are closing the gap on 500,000 views on YouTube. That's not the craziest part. The craziest part is that most of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. Do us a solid, smash that subscribe button and share it with a friend.
Today we got the owner of Premier Asphalt Concrete Solutions, Vargas. Welcome to the show.
I appreciate it. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thanks. We always like having Hispanic people on here, showing up, empowering the Hispanic community. But I want to start off so people can learn a little bit more about you. You're back. You were a debt collector. Now you got this big company, construction company.
Yes.
How did that all kind of come about?
Man, so where do we start, right? So getting out of the shell, real shy, timid, kind of just quiet guy. This guy, I call him a mentor, right? His name is Felix. He put me out there, threw me to the wolves, said, hey, man, just make these calls, getting hung up on, getting ignored.
Cold calling. He broke it down to me one day. He said, it's a numbers game. The more calls you make, the more opportunities you get.
So from that point moving forward, I started to kind of get the gist of, how to figure out a customer's needs, the WIFMs, what's in it for them, what's in it for us. So we were able to just get them to pay their bills, which was a legal binding contract at that time, right? They agreed to services, goods rendered. We're ready to roll, get them to pay, on to the next one. So from there, that definitely got me out of my shell. It just took off from there. I started helping.
How old were you when you started that?
Man, I was 18 years old.
Yeah, it's tough. 18-year-old cold calling.
Big time.
It's not the funnest.
Big time. So even with my older daughters, I tend to tell them nowadays, and it's even hard for them to kind of do the cold calling. It takes me back to that era, that time frame where, it really helped me out a lot, quite a bit. Just getting out of that shell and getting to know the consumer, the customer, and being able to provide a service, which collections wasn't a service, but at the end of the day, we were keeping it off of their credit. So it was a help for them. It was a help for us and the company and whatnot.
How important is it to have somebody in your life like you had Felix, kind of just forcing you to kind of get out of your shell?
Man, super important. Super, super important. The fact that you asked me that just takes me back to that point in time where since then, every single gentleman or female, male, female that I come across, kid, I'm like, look, dude, this is what it is. I see potential in you. This is what you need to do. You should do this. You should do that. And then we just continue to build. The team that I had summer before last, younger kids, right, around that time, around that age, 18 to 22 years old, seeing mad potential in them, and they took off, and they're doing really good right now. So the fact that somebody sees you, believes in you, gives you that guidance, super, super necessary, super needed, especially in this day and age, for sure.
So you make him cold call too, just like you did?
Man, well, so a little bit different, right? So I will put them out there in front of the customer, kind of, hey, do this, do that, sell this, sell that. Just be you, relax, right? Just go with the flow, see what the customer needs. And before you know it, they started building up that confidence to where they were having a really good time.
Yeah. One of the things I heard a while ago, it says you gain confidence. People just think he's confident. Like, look how good he can talk on camera. He's born with it. But confidence is it's like a muscle. Yeah. It gets stronger and stronger. But the way you get it stronger and stronger is keeping the promises you make to yourself. Man, like if you said you're going to do 10 calls, if you say you're going to do this with your family, if you said you're going to work whatever, and you don't keep it to yourself, then you feel like a fraud. You lose confidence instead of gaining it.
That's so true.
That also ties in with discipline. Like if discipline and trustworthiness, because if you say you're gonna do something to your wife or to your kids or whatever, to your friend, and then you don't come through, then they're not gonna trust you the next time.
Yeah.
So that's also ties into like that confidence part. That like if you're not gonna come through, then I'm not going to trust you, and then you don't get that trust, and then you lose your confidence too.
Yeah, that's so true. It's wherever you set the bar at, right? Mm-hmm. So with my family and our team, my wife sometimes tells me, "Hey, you promise these guys the world and stuff, right? Like for next year, stuff that I have no control over, right? It's all in God's hands at the end of the day. But I'm like, I know, but I feel confident that we're going to achieve those milestones. So why do I do that? I do that because I'm not promising them. Within myself, I'm promising them, but I'm letting them know, hey, man, you better be ready because it's about to take off. So right then and there, I'm setting the bar super high because that pressure is on me every single day in, day out, on the grind, on the hustle. Because I spoke it and I got to bring it into fruition.
Hey guys, let's take a quick break from the podcast. We want to help business owners just like you stay competitive in today's marketplace. So for a limited time, we're giving you 10% off your next video project, whether it's a brand video, social media content, or ads. Just mention this podcast to get started. Let's get back to the show.
How'd you come to doing that? Because a lot of it, I forgot the guy that I listened to, but it's like, oh, PBD, like sell me the dream. Yep. Like you sell your people the dream. Like how'd you kind of come up with that? Like, I don't know if we're going to get there, but they need to see a strong leader and a strong person, you know, and then they'll trust you.
Right.
Like how'd you kind of come?
Man, 100% transparency. See other people say it and tomorrow they're the exact opposite. Being in that team culture, when I was doing collections, we would have meetings and certain ones, yeah, I'm going to do this and that. And what would they do? They'd go out party all night and do things that, you know, in my opinion, they weren't supposed to be doing. Come around tomorrow. What happened with that conversation? What are you talking about? I don't remember saying that. It's like, dang, man. You know,
like, really, dude? Really?
Yep. Seriously. Right. You know, it didn't feel too good, right? Being on the other side, it's like, man, gotta speak it, do it, show me, lead by, you know, example. And then that's going to motivate me. Okay, you got it done. You came across with your word, exactly how you were saying a second ago, Eric. Your word is everything. And where you set that bar at, that standard, you got to achieve it by all means necessary.
So how'd you come around to opening like your own? Because you're a debt collector. So how do you like decide like I want to do this or I can do this? Right.
So then with the debt collecting, that got me out of my shell. Then I started coming across contractors, especially in the Hispanic community, who, in my opinion, were being taken advantage of on that particular time in their life. So I'm like, hey, dude, I can help you. You have a contract. What do you have? Well, I have this. I have that. Okay, let's get it. Let's piece it together. I had a little office down off of Alameda and Sheridan. Fun area to be in, right? Right up the street from Federal. So a lot of action there. But yeah, they would come. We would kind of sit down, have a consult. Would say, man, please help. You know, I'm ready to lose the business. Family's going to be on the streets. What can you do? So started making calls. Had a pretty good high success rate on the close ratio on those. Got them the results they needed. There was those few far and in between where I had, you know, the owner's address, and I would go and knock on the door. There was no law against it. Tell them, hey, man, I'm here with so-and-so. This is, you know, what's going on with this. Sometimes they would say, well, you know, communication was lost, or I wasn't happy with the delivery on the service that they did. So we would find a amicable resolution, and we would get them paid. We would, of course, charge a very small minimal percentage off of that. We call it the consult fee. We would keep it moving from there. So watching the contractors, a lot of money was coming in. So I started kind of diving in and seeing, well, how are these guys doing it? So there was one gentleman in particular who owned a concrete company, and he was a very, very giving gentleman, to say the least. He kind of gave me all the gold nuggets. And he's like, man, you can really take off with this. So I helped him. He helped me by mentoring me, showing me the way. Fast forward, I started diving into business development. A lot of that has to do with media marketing. So I started diving into that. Before you know it, I found that passion in the painting, the roofing, and the paving. And then 2018, we minimized it to paving just because it was too much. You can't have too much of a good thing, especially if you don't know what to do with it. Too much business, yeah. Right? Too much of a good thing. A lot of pressure, for sure, to say the least. So we minimized it to paving. I just love, you know, seeing something come out of nothing just being developed. So from that point, the whole COVID thing came. Fuel prices went up. Cost of materials went up. A lot of customers called us, told us, hey, what can you do? Can you work with us? Can you help us? We started pushing that aside, telling them, yeah, absolutely. Went back to the drawing board again, brought the painting, the roofing, And now we're an all-in-one stop shop. So most definitely.
We are closing the gap on 500,000 views on YouTube. So that's not the craziest part. The craziest part is that most of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. Do us a solid, smash that subscribe button and share it with a friend.
And now, so you bring back the painting, the roofing, that. Would you say that that part of the business is stronger than it was before, than when you did it back like before 2018?
I would say at this time, during the whole COVID era, it was a mix and match, a little bit of everything. So focusing in on the foundation, building on a strong foundation, and then adding on little by little from there. But at that point in time, everything was slow. But since we were able to grab a little bit here, a little bit there, and we were able to manage and, get our hands on some capital. And now, up until lately, things have dropped down, which is expected. We're in the fourth quarter. As a matter of fact, as of today, I just noticed that on the way up here, we're on the fourth quarter of the year. So, man, it's crazy how fast time has flown by. It tends to die down a little bit just for a little just glimpse, and then it picks right back up. So to answer your question, Monico, absolutely, yes. It is a lot better than before. Business-wise, the demand, it's just the supply nowadays is a little bit harder to get, right, ever since the whole COVID thing, for sure.
I was just asking because, like, for us, we did kind of the same thing, or you want to do all this stuff, but then there's, like, no foundation really to it. So shit doesn't work.
Right. Yeah.
And then so you're like, okay, let's just do this. And that's what we did. Like, we're doing all this other stuff. Okay, let's just do this.
Right.
And then we do this. Okay, once we have a good foundation, then we can start branching out with other stuff. And I think that's what a lot of like business owners do when they're barely starting off. They're like, we just want to do everything. Like whatever money. And it's understandable. Like, some people's willing to pay you. Like, cool. But if you really want it to take off, you're going to have to really like hone in on like one thing and go that.
Yeah. I call that the shiny object syndrome. Oh, this produces here, boom. You get this plate spinning, right? Picture yourself, there's plates, and the way I picture they're on sticks. You get this one spinning, move on to the next one, to the next one, to the next. By the time you come back around, this one's already lost momentum. So you got to start it up again. And the same goes for family, fitness, finances, faith, right? If you're not filling into those cups daily, you can get off track and lose your focus and not end up with anything. So my dad has a saying, right? And I'm trying to think right now how he says it. Más vale un pájaro en la mano que 10 volando. So translation on that, right? It's better to have one bird in your hand than 10 flying where you're just trying to grab them all at the same time. You got to focus on that one thing, build it, and then go from there. The nice thing about us is it's all in the contractor world. We seen a need, especially with property management companies. Man, they were juggling 3 to 4 contractors at one given time. There was a church in particular, and I won't say the name on here, right? But the gal there was just overwhelmed with the demand and the supply. She couldn't find it. She wanted her church painted, paved. She had a roof leak. So we were able to get in there and be of assistance on all 3, and she was super happy, right? And watching that make her day makes our day. And, like the saying goes, I mentioned a second ago off air, if you do what you love, you don't work a day in your life. That's how it goes, right? Of course, we all need to make a living, but it's just that passion, that drive that continues to fuel us day in and day out.
There's going to be good days, bad days, but at the end of the day is something you love to do, so you're going to stick with it.
That's so true, without a doubt.
When you started the business, you were saying I think it's a pretty good way to start a business. You kind of saw all the problems going on. So going into it, you knew what to fix right away. Yep. It's either because we talk about it all the time, kind of like what's the best way to kind of go about starting a business. It's either how you did it, kind of seeing the problems and then diving into it, and then you kind of know what to patch up, or the other options like working in the business and then seeing how it actually works on the inside, all the ins and outs, and then kind of work your way up from there.
Yeah. Couldn't agree with you more.
What makes you want to start like your business though? Like he was just saying, instead of like going in there just like being a GM or something for a company, instead of like you doing your own.
You're limited. When you're under somebody else, you're based upon what they tell you to do, how they tell you to do it, when to do it, right? So there's just a handful of people that I can personally say that I related with in regards to their values, their core values, and their thought process. So I said, screw it, and let's just start it the way we know what to deliver, what needs to be fulfilled, make it as easy of a process as possible. There's no need to complicate it, right? Life is complicated in itself, especially with things out of our control. So why add on to that? Be of assistance, go above and beyond, deliver that quality, deliver that value, and get it done. So I just decided to start my own for sure.
I mean, if you don't mind me asking, like, how do you like start your own? Because stuff is very expensive. Like,
yes,
especially
machines,
construction
stuff. Like,
Yep.
my background in construction, 12 years is like you got trailers, you got skid steers, you got pavers. Like, it's so much stuff. Like how do you come? Because I think that's the thing for a lot of people that gets tough. Like,
right.
Where do you come up with the money?
Yeah, just dive in. Just like working out, right? And I can tell you fellows work out, right? So we can all probably relate to this. How do you gain muscle, right? You just dive in. You watch a little, instructional here on how not to get hurt or whatnot. Watch your form, right? Your posture, all that good stuff. Your eating, your diet. But you just dive in and make it happen. It's painful, super painful. Now, I tell my wife all the time, there's days that I wake up in pain. I'm hurting from, workout from 2 days ago. But it's not going to stop me. Sometimes it'll slow me down just because of the day-to-day actions with work and everything. But just that dedication, that determination, that grit, that tenacity, day in and day out, that focus, just to be relentless, not give up at all. So I would say mainly it starts in the mind, and then from there, man, you guys will be surprised. Once you start to visualize it, you get presented with opportunities. One step takes you to another. You meet a person here, a person there, which, by the way, Agnes Talamantes with Arriba Mi Negocio, huge help. Shout out to her. Appreciate her taking, faith in me and showing me, hey, go this route, do this, do that. Get into, the consulting side of things, help the customer out. And that alone, the right people. So the right people, the right tools, financials, they'll come. If you go above and beyond, you'll get paid with what you're worth plus more, for sure.
Yeah, I saw a video about Andy Frisella the other day. He was talking about, like, being tired. It's like, are you tired? Good, like, I'm tired too. Like, are you tired when you wake up in the morning and you got to go work out? Cool, I'm tired too.
Yeah.
Like, just know, like, you're not by yourself when you're tired. I'm right there with you. And especially like when you're starting like the business, you're gonna be tired.
Absolutely.
Especially because like when you start, you can't start off with everything. You have to start off little by little and to work with what you have. And sometimes you're gonna have to work those long hours. And sometimes you're gonna be a little tired. Sometimes a little sore.
I'm getting the chills right now talking about that. Mm-hmm. I remember, and I'm having these visuals on the highway, barely able to keep my eyes open. Right, of course, precautions of safety, right, for others and for myself. But man, you just gave me the chills, Eric, because I took it there, right? Those visualizations, 18-hour days, working 8 hours, studying for, 2 to 4, being out on the field, just getting in there. It was tough, man. It was tough. It's a journey, though. If I could do it over again, I wouldn't change anything, because it's all part of the process.
Where did that entrepreneurship mindset kind of come from? You said you kind of got it when you were like younger.
Yeah.
So did that come like from your parents, from a family member, or where'd you see that?
A little bit from my parents. I would say quite a bit from my parents. My parents owned a store off of Federal and First a long time ago. It got broken into. But their blood, sweat, and tears went into that business. It got broken into from the back door. They pretty much stole everything from there. So that devastated me. I see my parents struggle. As it was, and that was just detrimental, man. I think I was like 12 years old. I remember watching that, and from there it just started crumbling down, on the business aspect side of things. So me being at that young age, I started thinking to myself, well, what went wrong here, right? First thing that popped in my head, location. I was young. I didn't know any better. Location, security, cameras, barandales, right? Metal in the back. We could have took all these additional steps to prevent this. But at the end of the day, I started noticing myself more and more think about an entrepreneur aspect thing of time. I remember telling my parents at a very young age, going to the grocery store and telling my dad, hey, and my mom, if they're selling this product $1.99, why not sell it at $1.25 and sell 100 of them instead of just 10? So I remember my dad looking at me and telling my mom, like, hey, he's onto something here, First he told me, no, you can't do that, son, And I said, well, why not? He said, because you need to be equivalent to the others. I said, who sets that standard? Who makes that rule? So he stopped, and I remember him questioning himself, like,
how old were you?
Man, that's true. I think I was like 12 years old, man. And even to bring it back even more, I remember being like 7 years old, trading toys at school. You know, kids got bored of their toys, and I'm like, well, what's up, man? What you got? You know, I got this and that.
Backpack full.
Yeah, seriously,
man. Pull it out. Like,
I would get in trouble. The teacher would pull me aside. What are you doing? This ain't no flea market, boy.
I think it's interesting you're saying that, though, because I think it's just like the Hispanic culture. Like, Hispanics are very trusting. Like,
yes.
Like, I don't need to put up like extra barandales on my store. I don't need security cameras.
Who's gonna?
People are good. People are good, but.
Once
especially
you get in, I'll keep points.
With the price, like, no, I mean that's what everybody else is offering, and I got it for the same price.
Es que no somos mal pensados, right? Yeah. We don't think evil, and that's one thing my parents and even me to this day, man. I fall short of that, right? I don't really see bad in people. I think the best of everyone, and I expect the best from them as well. And when they show me otherwise, I'm like, hey, man, let's dig a little deeper. Why did A, B, and C happen? What's going on? Or talk to me. Well, this and that and the other. Okay, well, you should have came to me first with that, right? But no, that mindset, you're spot on with that. We don't think that way. And sometimes that comes around to hurt us, but we kind of let it affect us and change our character or who we are.
There's a book that I read a while ago. Only the Paranoid Survive. Sounds good.
What was the name of it?
Only the Paranoid Survive. Shoot, so it's like it's pretty much about that. Like it's not saying that you don't trust anybody, but always be paranoid in business and like in family life. Like if you don't take care of your wife, like there's millions of fucking dudes out there.
Bro,
you know, there's like be paranoid in all aspects.
It's like you're reading my mind, man.
It's like don't have anxiety over it. Don't stress over it, but like always be paranoid.
I'm gonna tell you a second. Wait, man. I just had this conversation with my wife, and I hate the word paranoid, right? So I call it being aware.
Okay.
And I just told her the other day, I said, I don't remember how we got into this conversation, but I'm like, you know, some people look at it as being paranoid. I said, I call it being aware of your surroundings and being ready for whatever comes your way, hoping for the best, expecting the best, but being prepared for the worst at the same point in time. And that goes back to my parents, right? What happened to them? Were we prepared for that situation? No. Why? Because they're very good-hearted people, right? Core values, they see the best in everybody. Never once did they stop and think, oh, somebody might try to shortcut this. Somebody might want to get what we have without having to put the work in. So once that happened, it really opened up our eyes. And me personally and the whole entrepreneurship, I said, man, someday I'm going to own a store. And then from there, just a short intro to what I started doing that just came to mind. I used to love customizing cars. So I started customizing cars for my friends. You know, that's when the rims, the stereo systems, all that was really huge and big. Now you go to a dealership, you buy a car, it's already all
has everything.
Ready to go, right? They have all the add-ons right there. Finance it, you're on your way. But I started finding a passion for that. I had a friend of mine that showed me where to buy the stuff at wholesale. And I'm like, wait a second, you can go and buy it at a cheaper price, make a profit, deliver what the customer wants. Everybody wins. And he's looking at me. He's like, yeah. And I'm looking at him like, dude, why don't you do it? He's like, it's just because I can't. I don't have it in me. So it starts with that mindset, right, that we were talking about a second ago. At that point in time, if I would have had a little bit more knowledge, I know I would have told him, hey, man, you do have what it takes. You know, let's work on this together. Let's get it going.
Do you ever have any of that, like an immigrant kind of chip on your shoulder? Like you're from here and stuff, but your parents Cuban-Mexican, right?
Yep.
So like, did you ever have like that little kind of chip on your shoulder on that side of it?
Man, that's a great question. So I guess I never looked into it like that, right? To be 100, I don't think I did. I seen my dad's Cuban, right? My mom's Mexican. I seen how they struggle to get here, how to make it. I don't know. No, I don't think I ever stopped to really think about it. Now that you're asking me, though, I'm kind of diving in a little bit. So let me ask you this: chip on the shoulder, as in how? Like, give me an example, right?
Like for me, I'm thinking like, okay, my dad, they came as immigrants, you know,
right.
They didn't have like any paper and stuff, like how you come in and stuff. But like for me, it's like they did all these struggles for me. And then
Yep.
for me to like throw it away, it's a
Okay.
fucking disrespect
Now
in
I
my
got you.
eyes to like not try to achieve the full
Yes.
potential.
Yep.
Like, so you do have I
Yeah.
mean, I have a chip on my shoulder. Like,
I got you.
And I think we should. Like,
Yep.
they go through all this struggle so you can have a better life, and then you just kind of throw it away.
Yes,
because-
put in those terms, absolutely. I took it a little bit different, right? I was thinking some other things, but which is why I wanted to ask. But yeah, absolutely, it's pressure, right? Whether we like it or not, it's pressure. And some care, some don't, some do. I do. They worked really hard for me to be here. I got to make the best out of it. I have to. It goes back to that pressure every single day, day in and day out, for sure.
Yeah, because we had a conversation a while back with some family members, and they were like all this stuff has happened like to immigrants, like, oh, immigrants are like treated worse, like they don't get as many opportunities as like white people do and stuff. So they're like, oh, like we're the victim, like we should get some more help and stuff. And then I'm just like, the fuck you talking about? Like, no, don't play the victim card. You got to get your ass up and like, cool, this happens. There's nothing I can do about it to control it. Like,
Yeah.
the only thing that I can control is how am I going to react.
Yeah.
Am I going to do something about it, or am I just going to take it?
Man, and that's when you first said the chip on the shoulder. That's what I thought you were going for. I don't pull the victim card ever. I actually hate that. We all have the same 24 hours. We're all blessed with the same opportunities, the same tools, same resources. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yep. Thank you guys for clarifying that. Absolutely. Chip on the shoulder. Hey, pressure. You got to make the best out of it. Most definitely. Victim card, against it. Just how you said it. We all have the same opportunities. It's just comfort. Comfort is the new drug, you know? It's just enough to stay home and watch TV and do this and that and the other. Before you know it, the day is gone. What did you accomplish? What did you get done? Who did you help? What value did you add? Got to ask yourself those questions as you're winding down. You know, I'd rather be tired from giving my full 100 than to feel energized not doing anything and just waiting for time to take its toll. Because too much time, how we were talking off air, right? Too much time, you tend to get in trouble. So
yeah, that's never good. For you, I'm interested on your answer for this one because I mean, we're both married and stuff. But how important is it for you to have like your wife on board with all the stuff that you're doing? Because if like you're going through all this stuff in business, trying to get deals and do all this,
Right.
and then you go home and they don't support you 100% on something, then it's just like shit.
yeah.
How important is it for
And
you?
you're kind of like battling two battles.
Man, been there, done that. Past relationship, yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things, and that was the start to the end, right? So no regrets. Once again, like I said earlier, off air, if I had an opportunity to do it again, I wouldn't change anything on that. My wife, I've been blessed with the opportunity that she has the same mindset, same core values, right? She was brought up the same by her parents as well. So, shoot, man, a lot of people tell me, like, how do you do it? How do you go home and disconnect? To an extent, we do disconnect, but she's also right there day in and day out with me on the grind. And we just see the value that we add on it. And, man, it makes it a lot easier on that end. But, yeah, no, being in that type of a situation where you're coming home and they don't see the big vision, that can be detrimental. It's like a train being stopped. I know it sounds silly, but by a piece of paper, right? Something so stupid that you stop and look and you're like, man, how did I allow that to hold back my potential, my full God-given potential, right? Which brings me up to my next thing. So I have this thing, gifts, abilities, talents. We were talking about it earlier, right? You use them. You don't use them, you lose them. So if you're not just like a muscle working it out, you're gonna use it. You're gonna lose it. Excuse me. You're gonna lose it, and it's not gonna do anything for you or for your family, right? If that other half doesn't support you 100%. So that's super important.
Yeah, kind of to add a little bit to that, what you said. There's a guy, friend of us. He's been on the podcast a couple of times, Joshua. We're having a conversation. What's like, hard work will outbeat talent.
Yes.
Like if hard work will outbeat talent when talent doesn't work hard. And then he's like, well, then just think about it. What's going to happen when talent works hard.
That's what I was just gonna say.
And I was like, damn, okay.
Game
I
changer.
never thought about it. And then he told me that. I was like, okay, shit.
Yeah.
You always hear like that first part of the quote, but you never hear like that.
Yeah.
The ending part. Like what happens when talent?
What
works
happens
hard?
when you combine both? That's when you break all those barriers, right? There's a saying that every time I hear it, I correct somebody. The sky's the limit. The limit's wherever you set the bar. Wherever you set it, that's where it could be set here. It could be set beyond, infinity or whatever. It's all in your mind.
It's like what Grant Cardone says, like his 10x rule. Don't make your goal here, 10x that goal, put it up here, put the bar for yourself up here.
Yeah. And that's one of the main ones. The 10X was one of the first books that actually started getting me in that mindset. Like, dude, you're thinking too small. Even nowadays, I have to stop and I have to check myself. Like, you're thinking too small. You're thinking too small. What's holding you from going here to here, helping this, doing that? It's just me. It's time, of course, right? But it's me. We can all use the best of the 24 hours that we've been given, for sure.
It's a mindset game.
It is, 100%. Yep.
What is a thing for you that you think that kind of holds you from going that next level, that next tier in business and personal life, whatever it is?
Man, I have another saying, right? Sometimes I feel like I have to ask myself, let me pull back and rephrase that, right? Am I eating soup with a fork? I'm working.
Okay.
But I'm not.
You're on the treadmill. You ain't going anywhere.
Not being effective.
Yeah, not being effective, right? So I'm working. I'm doing it. So nowadays, sometimes I get stuck, looking at projects, doing this, doing that, getting fascinated by it, actually hopping in and doing work. Guys are looking at me like, hey, dude, we got this. It's all right, but it's just that much of a passion. I'm like, no, it has to be done this way, that way. Customer said, here, let's be careful with this. They're like, I know, I remember. I got
Are you perfectionist with stuff like that?
To a degree. I have, I call it the eye of seeing things where, like, yep, customer is going to want this corner this way, or this is going to look this way. So sometimes I'll just hop in. I've gotten a lot better on delegating. Because, man, that can become consuming, right, on time-wise. But now I'm good at delegating, like, hey, I say, what up to this? We'll make sure of this, make sure of that. Yep, I got you, Francisco. We're good. Okay, cool.
Especially when you've done something, like, pretty much by yourself the whole time. So, like, how it has to be done.
Yes.
And you don't have that trust in them yet to kind of let that go.
I started out that way. And I was trying to be everywhere. I remember getting home, like we were talking earlier, super exhausted. Thinking back on the day, reflecting, like, man, where did I go wrong? I used to be, and I'm getting back to it now, real big on putting pen to pad. All my thoughts, what happened throughout the day, my opportunities, my wins, my strengths, my weaknesses, reflecting. I call it reflecting now, right? Just up until recently, I'm getting back to it, and, man, it's been a huge help.
What are some of the strengths you say you have? Like you personally, your
personality. Yeah. So just being a genuine person, letting customers know, hey, I'm here to help. Where do we go from here? What can we do? What is it an issue? What's the issue here that you need resolved, and how can I help you? Just being genuine, just lowering that brick wall, right? That sometimes we tend to put up, and it's like we're talking over this little thing. Hey, well, what do you need? Oh, well, what's your price? Oh, let me get back to you really quick. I'll let you know if I can help you or not. Now it's like, just talk to me, shoot it straight. What's your budget? I just ask them straight up. Be surprised. I used to be against it. Why? Because I started thinking, well, what if the customer is like, well, you only want to know my budget so you know how to price this. But now I do it in that genuine approach to where, like, okay, this guy really is trying to help us out. Yep, we got the good, better, best. You let me know where you're at, I'll know where to fit you to where you get the best bang for your buck. Absolutely.
What are some of your weaknesses, would you say?
Weaknesses.
Because that's one of the big defining thing of, like, a great leader. Like, you know what you're really good at, and you know what you're not good at, and you get somebody to help you do the stuff that you're not that good at.
Man, organization. And by that, I'm super optimistic. I feel like I can do everything. I'm only one person. Well, my family, right? But we're all one unit, I should say. So it's like... organization and delegating, I'm getting a lot better, but the organization, the knowing, hey, to get to step B and C, you got to go through A and have the right people in place. So I would say being a little too optimistic on things that sometimes are out of our control, but once again, hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and that's it. Don't look back, all forward.
Would you say a little bit, like you said you're really optimistic. Would you say, I mean, for me, like not for you.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I mean, that's what helped us do our business, having a little bit of delusional. Like, we're like, this is easy, we'll do it.
Yeah.
If we would have thought of all the problems, there'd been no freaking way we'd have done this.
Yeah.
Like,
Seriously.
When we first started,
like a little delusion, like, hey,
make some money.
dude,
Yeah.
I can be the best media company.
Yeah.
I can do this. Because if you don't think that way, you're never going to do it.
That's so true. Being a visionary, seeing the finished product, right? And thinking, I'm going to dive in. This is going to be simple. I crack myself up sometimes because I think about it. Coming into this business, we had a few really good years at beginning, starting. I'm like, shoot, man, this is easy. Man, I shouldn't have said that. You know? Yeah, seriously. Things started changing. And this was around the whole COVID thing. Things started changing out of our control. And I'm like, this ain't so easy. You know? Had me questioning things for a minute. Thinking about actually going back to work in 8 to 5, which, man, even me saying it right now, I can't believe I'm speaking it, but it really, really threw things off. So changes that mindset for sure. But no, the optimism, super needed. The thinking it's easy, we have to, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody has their own character, their own personality, but for us, and how you just told me a second ago, right, we can relate on that 100%. If you don't get into it thinking it's easy, you're not going to do it. It's like same thing with working out. Look at, you know, somebody benching or squatting 500 pounds. I'm just throwing a number out there. How did they start? They started looking at somebody else like, oh, I can do that. I got this. It's going to take determination, grit, you know, proper diet, form, all that. But it's achievable. It's achievable. How are the records broken, right? Like Tyson. I'm a big Mike Tyson fan. That dude was an animal in his prime, right?
I'll eat your babies. I'll do everything.
Yeah, see that? Those are the conversations. I'm like, hey, man, well, you know, why are you saying that? But now that I look back, he had that mindset. He went in there knowing that he can dominate it. He can take it over, and he did. Now, what happened that one time when he got dropped, right? What happened? He started losing fights. Mm-hmm. Why? Because people knew, okay, I can do this. I can overcome you. And what happened? You know, it went down from there. Yeah.
So what's some business or life advice that you would give to yourself if you were to go back, say, like when you're first about to start the business?
I would say get out of your comfort zone, seek the right people, the right tools. Don't waste so much time on things that are irrelevant, right? Whether that's nightlife, whether that's, I don't know, too much Netflix. It's hard for me to pinpoint it right now, but I would say definitely seek the right people, the right tools. What you eat is super important too, right? You can't just be eating Cheetos all day and expect your body to perform at its 100% capacity, right? It all starts from the rest that you get, the sleep, the H2O, the water that you put in your body. That's something that I would never stop to think about it. My parents used to tell me, hey, don't eat that, don't eat this, don't eat that. I'd be like, yeah, whatever. Well, the sugar, right? At the end of the day, you have those jitters and you're sitting there, well, why can't I sleep? Well, got to reflect on it. What did you do? What did you take in? What did you put into your body? What you put in is what you're going to get out. So I would say hands down that, and just keep that optimism strong, thinking that anything is possible, anything you put your mind to. And having a mentor, man, that helps out a lot. If I had an opportunity to change that at a young age, I would have used that money to find a mentor and have him show me based upon his mistakes, his trials, his tribulations, to make it somewhat easier for me, or to at least give me a heads up like, hey, you know, here's the light at the end of the tunnel. Here's these binoculars so you can see exactly where you're going. Don't go left, don't go right. Go here, boom, you're going to hit your target. So definitely exposure to being in business. We were talking about it a second ago. Super important. Letting the world know what you do, how you do it, why you do it. That's a piece that I would say probably about 90% of us miss, unfortunately, myself included. But moving forward, yeah, that's definitely going to change for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, Frank. Appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come chat with us for a little bit.